Lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences, astral projection. As if the subject of consciousness were not complicated enough, we have the terminology to decipher. There are hugely varying opinions on the subject of what defines one experience over another, and as a result, many remain confused. Ultimately, our own experience will be the one to answer the questions we may have regarding the varying states of consciousness. However, there are certain characteristics that can perhaps define some of the notable distinctive traits of each type of experience. But first, rather than look at the differences, it may be helpful for us to look at the similarities of the state. So these characteristics are common to both out-of-body experiences and lucid dreams. Full waking awareness of the practitioner is present. There's a very definite sense of solidity to the surroundings, even though they're non-physical. The environment feels real and separate from ourselves, however it can be affected and influenced by our thoughts. Expectation plays a heavy role in both types of experience we have. Our sense of body is usually present. We're able to navigate in ways that are not possible in the physical, such as flying or walking through walls. We're able to communicate with the larger awareness directly, either telepathically or by calling out to it. We have full cognitive function and we have full use of our five senses. We know that the experience whilst we're in it is not physical reality. Induction methods for both experiences work equally well for each other, and an increase in frequency of lucid dreams will also naturally increase the frequency of out-of-body experiences and vice versa. Techniques for prolonging the experiences are the same for both, such as using tactile sensations and commanding more awareness. As we can see, there is a fairly extensive list of similarities, so what are differences? Let's take a look. An out-of-body experience is entered directly from wakefulness, either whilst going to sleep or after a period of sleep and a short awakening. Out-of-body experiences sometimes begin by entry into a void space that has no imagery but only tactile awareness. A lucid dream is entered after a period of unconscious sleep and a trigger within the dream alerting the dreamer that they're dreaming. An out-of-body experience has definite sensations of leaving the body, as well as often being accompanied by vibrations, buzzing feelings, and sometimes audible phenomena. A lucid dream, on the other hand, has none of these, as the practitioner is already asleep whilst it happens. And generally, in an out-of-body experience, the practitioner will find themselves within a reflection of their immediate surroundings in which they fell asleep, so usually their bedroom, and then they will navigate deeper into the dream or astral realm from there. After the entry point phenomena and the navigation away from the immediate surroundings which reflect the physical world whilst in the OBE, the experiences become very much the same as a lucid dream. Lines become further blurred by the fact that certain phenomena that we would perhaps usually categorise as unique to one experience over the other becomes present in both experiences. Examples of this are the re-entry point. Many experienced practitioners will have multiple experiences during one session. When we have a lucid dream, we can often re-enter after a short period of awakening by staying completely still and focusing our intent. And when we do that, our re-entry is often accompanied by the sensation of leaving our body, but usually without any of the vibratory phenomena. Does that then make it an OBE or simply a continuation of the lucid dream? The void. Now, this is often experienced during out-of-body experiences, immediately upon separation from the body. However, it's also sometimes experienced on collapse of a lucid dream imagery just before awakening. That cross-transference of characteristics further bolsters the argument that they're largely the same state of awareness, separated mainly by the entry point. Then we have trauma-induced projections. What would first appear to be a unique characteristic of the out-of-body experience is that they come about during physical trauma, such as a car accident, heart attack, drowning, or an operation. However, these out-of-body experiences are usually categorised as near-death experiences or NDEs. It's whether we define an NDE as a form of OBE over a lucid dream simply down to the characteristics of entry, in that it's directly entered from the waking state, there's a definite sense of leaving the body, and the experience of being within a reflection of the immediate physical surroundings. At first, that would seem to be the case. However, from reports of people who've had NDEs, the longer they're clinically dead, the more dreamlike the experiences become. And once they move away from the reflection of their immediate surroundings, they often report seeing light, tunnelling experiences, being in beautiful surroundings and meeting relatives and spiritual beings, or dream characters perhaps, heavenly experiences and so on, all of which could also fall into the category of lucid dreaming. So again, this draws us back to the same conclusion that The only definable differences between an NDE and an OBE and a lucid dream are the entry point, whether directly from waking or after a period of unconsciousness, whether the sensation of leaving the body is present or not, and whether or not we find ourselves within the reflection of our immediate physical surroundings. Whether these differences are sufficient enough to label these projections of our consciousness as separate experiences is possibly questionable, as placing them in different categories can serve as much to confuse as to help people understand. That said, there is a flip side to the confusion of terminology by which the concept of consciousness projection can be communicated with various audiences depending on what's more palatable to the listener. For instance, the more modern term lucid dreaming is often better received by those that have limited knowledge of spiritual concepts, as it's a term that people can relate to more readily. After all, it's an accepted norm that we all dream, and therefore to explain to someone that we can also dream consciously and have that backed up by the scientific proof that's out there is a lot easier for them to take than discussing the concept of out-of-body experiences or astral projection. Equally, terms like dream characters as opposed to beings or entities or spirits, they tend to be better received by the general populace, as do terms like the non-physical environment, such as calling it the dream world over the astral, all of which is of course semantics. However, they can be useful tools for communicating depending on who you're speaking to, yet all refer to the same type of experiences. They are projections of our consciousness into the non-physical environment beyond the body. The fact that we can all enjoy these amazing experiences is a fantastic gift, so let's not get bogged down by the need for a label.